Hi, welcome to Moose Jaw This Week. I'm your host, Lyle Johnson. We're here on the stage at Peacock Collegiate, where I'm talking to two young professional actors from the East who began their careers, and they're going to be involved with the production of Billy Bishop Goes to War, which is a very significant piece of Canadian theatre. And so, Daniel, welcome home.
Thank you. It's great to be home.
Yeah. And Dan, you of course this was your home for
Moose Jaw was my home for 17 years, but this stage in particular was my home for 4, as I went to Peacock here and did all of the shows that I could through my high school career. So yeah.
Yeah, and Daniel, you are now a very accomplished musician, actor, director, producer.
Yeah, all those things.
All those things.
Yeah.
But you're from Alberta.
I am, yeah, town St. Albert, Alberta, just north of Edmonton. So no stranger to the prairies, but it's my first time in Moose Jaw.
Yeah. And you guys got here for beautiful weather this week too.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought my Canada Goose parka, but I should have brought a leather jacket, I guess. Yeah.
So Dan, let's talk about the history, a little bit about the show, but how you actually have been chastened to have this done.
Yeah. Well, so I first read this play when I was, I think, in grade 12, and I kind of raided your collection of plays, and found this on the shelf and read it, and kind of had an obsession with this role and getting to do this show for, most of my years as a young man. And I was originally asked to do it by a theater in Ontario, by the director of a show, and then the artistic director, sort of the administrative head of the theater, wanted to hire a local guy instead, so I was then uninvited from doing the show. So when you mentioned that this was a possibility, I was very, very excited. So it's an awesome show, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and guys, we've been talking for years about doing this and trying to get something to happen. And it requires certain definite things. Like when I talked to the person who has written this play, John Gray, he said, well, you have to have 2 things. You have to have a theater. I said, yeah, we've got that. You have to have a professional actor who can play the role. And I said, yeah, I have the actor. He goes, oh, really? And he said, I said, here's his equity number. So, okay, you can do the show.
Yeah. So it's, and equity, by the way, is the Canadian Actors Equity. It's the Actors
like
Union.
Yeah.
Professional association.
Yeah. Okay. Like teachers have the STF.
Something like that.
And you live like 2 blocks from there.
Yeah, we're neighbors. We've been neighbors for years, and we've worked together a whole bunch in the theatrical trenches. And we've produced together, we've written together, we've performed together. So like this show kind of seems like a natural progression. Like I think it's suited for us. They're good parts. We're not unlike the parts we play. And we're excited.
Piano, sorry.
Oh, yeah. When Lyle first asked me to do this, she was like, do you want to do this show? I was like, sure. Can I bring my own piano player? So, I've got just the guy in mind. So.
And when he wasn't available, he asked me.
Yeah.
And witty repartee, which takes place in the play and on the stage. So they have this kind of stuff that's really, really good. A good connection, good interaction between them. They both graduated from Sheridan College, where you guys studied together, I guess.
Yeah, we studied together. Dan was 1 year ahead of me in a different class, but we kind of glommed onto each other. We did some writing and some performing, and then just kind of been friends for a decade in show business since. And that's a lot. It's hard to remain friends in show business.
Yeah, especially if you're both male, trying out oftentimes for the same roles.
It's not called show friends. Yeah.
Well, it actually is a lot easier when one of them is much more talented than the other. Yeah. So then we're not really up for the same parts. So yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are obviously have a good time. We've just started rehearsals, and we're in the blocking phase. But I really have already a nice feel. I think the people of Moose Jaw and the students in particular are going to have an opportunity to learn something about our community, about the World War I history, and Billy Bishop, who is a very interesting character in his own right.
Yeah. Well, he was, he was a guy from Owen Sound, Ontario, who was kind of a bit of a slacker, always looking for the easy way out, where until he found his way into the Royal Flying Corps in World War I, and really that was a transformative time in his life, and it turned him from this kind of bad student, lazy, looking for the easy way out guy into
lie about.
a lie about. Yeah.
Come back then, yes.
Yeah, and this experience turns him into, Britain's highest scoring fighter ace, a courageous war hero, and
Killing machine.
yeah.
And the guy who wrote this is a piano player, but that's pig hard music that you have to play.
Yeah, there's lots of great tunes. There's some kind of World War I music hall kind of stuff. There's some folk music in there. There's a little bit of ragtime. There's some blues. And these are all the styles that I love to play. And it's a one-man band in the show, you know what I mean? So you got to create the whole thing on your own. But it's great because we sing a lot together. There's lots of duets, so I'm not just relegated to some dark corner off. I get the spotlight, which, as you know, like performers are like Tinkerbell. We need that applause to live. And so I love the tunes are great in the show. People definitely be singing the songs as they leave. They're really listenable, and they sound, even though it's original music, it sounds very familiar and of the time.
Yeah, and that's true. Like the songs are, as you said, all original, but in a musical, the songs advance the story and they tell background information from scene to scene and link them. And it's a very unique style of thing. You, of course, have done musicals for years. You've performed in Toronto and Whitehorse. I remember one summer.
Dawson City.
Dawson City,
just
sorry,
north of Whitehorse.
up north, And in Summerside or something.
Summerside PEI, doing Ann and Gilbert there.
Yeah.
And then Ann and Gilbert here 10 years later for Rhubarb Productions last summer.
Yeah. And how about you? What kind of stories have you done other than your high school stuff? You were telling me.
Yeah, all around in the business. The first 2 years I worked as a musical director all around Ontario for a couple of big companies there. And then Dan and I wrote and produced together in Toronto. So we actually wrote this musical called Funny Business that we produced downtown Toronto that we ran for about 5 months, which at the time was a huge accomplishment, and closed that theater down. And then I was kind of on a break for about 2 years, and then I've been back performing and writing. I've written about 7 musicals of various success and topics, and now performing again all around Canada, and a musician in a few bands. And I'm spread pretty thin. Yeah.
And a married guy.
An ex-married guy.
Ex-married guy. Because of the work.
Even better, exactly. I'm married to the music.
Well, you love that.
Yeah, exactly.
We love that. Yeah. But that happens because it's a very demanding thing. Now you get to come to Moose Jaw. You do this show. It's a show that's part of the Heritage Canada grant that is being created for Sunningdale School in Moose Jaw, and they're going to learn about World War I, and we thought it was a great play to introduce with it and share. So we've got lots of good things going on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really great. I think the students are really going to love it. There's lots of funny stuff that goes on in the show, and I think it's really engaging. So we're very excited to get to do it. Yeah.
Well, good. So showtimes. If people want to come and see this, there's only going to be 2 adult productions. The other 4 in daytime are matinees, specifically set up so the students in the community can learn about that, and learn about Billy Bishop, and learn a bit about World War I. And the play addresses itself very nicely to learning about the history of that. But the adult shows are on the 25th and 26th of March. That's Good Friday evening at 7 o'clock, and Saturday, the 26th, at 7 o'clock as well. And tickets for these it's an interesting plan, and I think people will want to come and see it because the play is outstanding, but also the purpose of doing it. The people will not have to pay a set price, but they're allowed to make donations, and the donations are going to go towards the recovery of the remains of a Victoria Cross winner from Moose Jaw, who's during the Battle of Vimy Ridge, he was sadly killed and posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross for his actions on that day. And he and 42 of his confreres were buried at Vimy, and they seem to have lost where they were. And now there's a project in place by Norm Christie from Ottawa, who wants to generate a fund to go and do a forensic research of the area to prove that the bodies are there and they're going to be recovered and put into a cemetery with the rest of the people. And so what has to happen with that is we need to donate the money that is raised from the doors to that fund, and that'll be a good thing.
Yeah.
You guys were kind of impressed. You thought that was a good idea.
Oh yeah, it's a really great idea. I mean, bring a piece of Canadian heritage and our history back home, and give this man the interment that he deserves. And
well, we are down to our last couple of minutes already.
Oh my God.
So, what else? What would you like to say to people who are watching the show that they're going to learn, what they are also going to enjoy?
Yeah, I just think that this show is, as far as Canadian musical theater goes, this is a heritage piece. This is one of like the most beloved Canadian musicals. Like it's kind of in there with the Anna Green Gables kind of feel, but like the show's about war, and it's interesting and it's entertaining, and the music is great. And out of Mr. Falk over here, out of Billy Bishop, it's this tour de force performance that covers multiple characters, multiple timelines, and it's just a really fascinating piece of simple unit theater that, like, if you have the opportunity to see this show, because it's this awesome piece of Canadiana, then you should totally come and check it out, because it's kind of a legend amongst Canadian theater, but you don't always get the chance to see it. It's kind of fallen out of favor in productions in the last 15 years. So we're excited to have this like new take on it, and it's like funny and entertaining and quick and action packed, and you're out of there in 90 minutes, and it never drags. It's paced really well, and the music's great, and so it's just something you should totally come check out.
And tickets are available at calling the Peacock switchboard here, talking to Doreen at school, 693-4626, if you're interested in attending. We need to keep track of how many people are coming, so we don't have everybody show up and say, well, there's no seats, because we want to make sure that everybody gets the stuff. So thank you guys for taking time out of rehearsal and talking about this, and thanks to you out there for watching us. And we're going to be back after this break with another interesting episode of information about things that are happening in Moose Jaw, so don't go away.